What's going on, y'all? My guests today on the podcast are none other than Coast Contra. Crazy episode. The conversation is inspiring, but you're definitely going to want to stick around for the bars. Let's go.
This is for my flow state. Add it. Yeah. Y'all know we back at it. Ain't it crazy how the mind works magic? We gon' show you the method behind the magic.
You go 1, 2, 3, 4. Hip hop don't die, I can't take this no more. Come on, 5, 6, 7. Hey, wait, I think we got a post. Coast Contra just saved the day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Flow State with yours truly, Harry Mack. My guests today are a Los Angeles-based hip-hop group that's been making massive waves since February 2022 when the Never Freestyle dropped, went crazy viral everywhere, has more than 16 million views on YouTube alone. Since then, they've had opportunities to open for Dave Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl. They performed live on Jimmy Fallon. They've done their own headlining tour. They've dropped their debut album, Apartment 505. The Old Way Mixtape is out right now. These guys are doing such amazing things. I'm honored to have them here. I'm genuinely a big fan. So without further ado, please welcome Coast Contra.
What up, man? It's an honor to be here, for real.
Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for being here. How you guys feeling?
Man,
Blessed.
Yeah.
Blessed.
Oh, yeah. Love it. Love it. So just for my audience, maybe for people who are less familiar with you guys and what you do, real quick, can you just break down who is Coast Contra and how'd you guys link up and start working together?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. So, pretty much for those of them that don't know, we pretty much all come from different places, you know what I'm saying? And we just happen to be blessed up. God gave us, a big W when he allowed us all to link up here in LA. And really, we got the chance to live together, grow together, and do all that. So, as you said earlier, Coast Contra is based out in LA, and that's where we have our base of operation at. But yeah, through living in Apartment 505, which is the debut album that we did, that's a real place. Through living there, we was able to build this brotherhood, build community, build just this love for the craft together. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you guys see when y'all see these videos. But from there, we end up really just realizing, like, man, it's a purpose here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that purpose was probably the thing that holds us all together even more so than anything else. And it's like we got this desire to make sure that we uphold the craft to this highest standard. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that we give hip-hop its proper due because it's given to a lot of us from not just our communities but other communities as well. You know what I'm saying? And as well as that, our goal for our fans and the people that do rock with us, we just want to lead them back to themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's our biggest thing is authenticity. Just being genuine, making sure that you are upholding yourself to the highest place you can, you know what I'm saying, and running like that. So that's pretty much who we are and what we about as far as individually. My name is Taj Austin.
Eric Jamal.
Rio Loz.
Ras Austin. And we are Coast Contra. You know what I'm saying?
Boom. I love it. No, man, when you mention being passionate about upholding the craft and upholding the culture to the highest standard, I mean, it comes through in the music. I like I said, I'm a genuine fan. Love your guys' sound. Love the whole energy and the chemistry that you guys have together as a group. I've heard you guys describe your sound as evolved nostalgia. Can you talk about what that means?
Yeah, actually, we actually got that from Chef. We all worked at the same area. Her name is Chef Elisa Reynolds. And it's a restaurant called My 2 Cents. And that's how she describes her food, which is soul food, but it's evolved nostalgia. She has at times would say, like, she grew up eating some of the food and she didn't always like certain foods, but when she wanted to put her take on it, it was like, let me just try to reinterpret it my way. You know what I'm saying? So when we do hip hop, it's like, obviously in hip hop, you can't copy nobody, you know what I'm saying? But definitely you take the inspiration and channel it through you, you know what I'm saying? So for us, we standing on the shoulders of giants, we standing on the shoulders of a Common, Andre, Kendrick, all of them, you know what I'm saying? So all the greats, you know what I'm saying? As far as, but most def, all you name them all for real. So it's like, for us, that's what we want you to feel. Is like when you hear, like, damn, for any OG that's been in the game forever, that's been listening to hip hop for the 50 year, 10 year, it's like, yeah, yo, that remind me of for any new kid, but even at the same time, it's like, but I like what they doing with this, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it feel fresh. For a new kid, it's like, when they hear us rap over a scenario, they don't know where that beat came from, and it's like, oh, that's they shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, we want to just continue to, like, take everything that's been given to us and then push it forward as we supposed to, I
love it, man. Yeah, and you guys are definitely bridging gaps like that, too, because, I hear so much of the 90s boom bap influence in what you guys do, and at the same time, it never sounds dated in any way whatsoever. It always feels like it's pushing forward and bringing something unique and fresh. So, man, I love that. One thing that I'm always curious about, like when I'm talking with musicians that I respect, I'm always curious, like if you remember, like what's the first music that you each remember hearing. Because for me, it was like classic blues. Like my dad was really into cats like Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, like B.B. King, old school blues stuff. And he would make me these cassettes, and I was obsessed with these tapes. Like when I was a baby, like before I was walking, I would like crawl to the speaker and like start vibrating and doing weird shit. And even now, like when I hear those artists, it hits different. You know, it resonates with me in a real way. I just think it's fascinating. Like we don't really have control over the first music we're exposed to. It just comes into our ears.
Right.
So I don't know if you guys remember, maybe not specific artists, maybe you do, or maybe just genres or styles. But what's some of the first stuff y'all were hearing?
Man, I remember. It's crazy because it all came back to me. Like hearing the song older and stuff, and I started getting like bits and flashbacks. But the first hip hop song I heard was "All I Need," you know, Meth, and so that was the first one. But I think they was playing it on Yo MTV Raps. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know English at the time. I just remembered the melody and the beat, and I was like, yo, I was like, that's so fire.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that's hard.
I probably have to say like my parents always played gospel in the crib, but when I like hang with my older brother, he would play like what's that, like Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying, Biggie, but like I didn't comprehend what they were saying. And then, but like being surrounded by like just, you know, but being outside, they always blasting different music. The one that like caught my ear was probably like Fabulous, or like Nelly. And I remember like a time I was in my brother's truck, and I knew it word for word because it's crazy as a kid. You know, like the melody, you know, like I'm like, it's going down, down, baby. Yo, shit in the air. He looked back like, yo, do you know what you saying right now? Like Chimmy's Cocoa Puff. I'm like talking about smoking. I didn't even know he was talking about it, but I just knew I got down with it. And then it was like, no, I don't know what I'm talking about. He was like, you probably shouldn't be saying it then. But that's like one of the earlier moments for sure.
Yeah, I think the earliest memory I got, and you might feel the same, was Lauryn Hill, was Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and it was that thing. Because we ain't the same thing, we was too young to like, I don't even know if we could really fully talk at the time or something, but like we was just like, that thing, that thing, that thing. Like we just love that melody, you know what I'm saying? So that, but my mom used to keep that whole album on repeat, and I remember that, and in between that and Outkast, yeah. Out between that, them and Outkast.
Him and Nah.
Yeah,
Quim and Nah.
Yeah,
Always
I used to
stuck
love
in
that joint, yeah. So.
That record is so crazy,
Man,
bro.
absolutely.
Man, that's wild. Yeah, and I definitely had that Nelly CD, bro, and I was definitely rapping along with that, having no idea what the fuck I was talking about. Yeah, dude, that was that was a big record. That's really dope. And so also for you guys, for Ras and Taj, like I know you come from a musical family, right? And so with both of your parents being such incredible musicians, obviously Ras Kaz, one of the dopest MCs out of all time, and your mother, Teacher Moses, as well. Like, what was that like? What role did your parents have, if any, in your musical development? Were they hands-on with it and encouraging you guys to do music? Did they kind of take a back seat and let you gravitate towards it on your own, or what was that kind of like for you guys?
I always say the best and most important part about watching them do what they do was that it was possible. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't think it was too much like of a hands-on approach, because it's just like we wasn't even like that. It was like, I got to get it right. You know what I'm saying? So like, I was in the room, you know what I mean, like all day until, you know what I mean, I'm not coming out, I ain't even eating. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not even showing him until it's ready. You know what I'm saying? And then I go show him. He like, oh, this is fire. And he like, next you know, he ain't coming out the room. You know what I'm saying? And he like, I'm sneaking into his lab. So like, all right, what he just did? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they didn't really show us that way, but like, yeah, it was definitely like, man, seeing that this actually works. So like, how it's so funny, I be telling people like, being a lawyer or a doctor was more foreign to me. Like that seemed more like of a kind of like reach, you know what I'm saying, or like than like doing music, because that's not what I didn't see that in my household. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what it was for me though.
Yeah, no, I say the same. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, that's dope. I mean, just to have role models like that show you that it's possible, I feel like that's everything. Because in so many families and households, I feel like it's discouraged almost because it seems so unfeasible. You know, it's like it's so competitive. It's hard to make a living. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I'm a drummer. My background is playing the drums. I've been playing drums for as long as I've been rapping.
Wow,
and I had this.
Wow.
I had this really incredible teacher in Portland, Oregon, where I'm from, named Alan Jones. Shout out to Alan Jones. But yeah, he told me this thing right when we first started taking lessons, and he was like, "Do you want if you want an easy job, you should become a brain surgeon." And I was like, what are you talking about? Wow. And he was like, if you become a brain surgeon, You're going to go to school for like 12 years for college. It's going to be super challenging. You're going to have to take all these crazy exams. You're going to have to like, do whatever they have to go through those 12 years to get that degree. It's going to be super hard. You're going to get out. And then you're going to have like a really high paying salary job, and you'll have benefits and stuff like that. You'll be able to take care of your family. He's like, so if you want an easy job, do that. If you want a hard job, let's play the drums. Because with this, you're going to be studying your whole life, not 12 years.
Wow.
You never stop studying. There's always more to learn. It's a continual thing. You're not necessarily going to get that money, even if you are great. There's plenty of great people, as we all know, that are slept on,
Right.
And it just resonated with me a lot. It was like the first lesson, and he turned to me. He was like, "So, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Let's play the fucking
hard.
drums, bro."
That's
crazy.
That's
That's
like some goosebumps
crazy.
shit. Yeah.
What was
fire.
that movie with a boy cat? It just recently came out. It's like a little older. It was a movie
About the jazz drummer?
I think so. Yeah.
Whiplash?
Yeah,
Whiplash.
Whiplash. He was
Oh.
going. He was bleeding. I'm like, bro, this is serious.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is serious.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Luckily, I
crazy.
never actually bled practicing drums.
No,
I
good.
feel like I got close, though.
How much does playing the drums influence your ability to flow and pocket and stuff like that?
Dude, it's such a cheat code, man. It's everything. Because for me, especially because I'm improvising most of the time.
Right.
So I think of a freestyle rhyme like a drum solo with words. So the whole the rhythmic component of it is it all comes from me playing jazz and playing the drums, and like I'm already comfortable with rhythmic improv. So then it was just the process through practice and training of figuring out how to attach words to it that makes sense.
Right.
Add the language component.
Right. That's
But,
hard.
yeah,
That's tough.
It's everything,
tough.
man. The drums and the rhyming go hand in hand for me for sure. But
I'm curious, real quick.
yeah, please.
Is it possible for you to play drums and freestyle at the same time, or is that too much of a brain? like it's just a storm in the mind. Like you know what I'm saying?
I'm working on it.
That's
So,
crazy.
Like
That's
I have
crazy.
done it and I can do it, but usually for me it's like one of them suffers.
100%.
Absolutely.
It's like when you're
100%.
playing like a sports game, a video game, and each like player has its like his level. It's like shooting, passing,
Yeah,
and
right,
nobody's
right,
like
right.
maxed out on all of them,
Right.
It's like I have one column for rapping and one column for drumming, and depending on which one I'm focusing on, the other one suffers.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I
Yeah.
always feel weird about it because I want to do both like as high level as I know I can.
Right.
Yeah.
But shout out to like Anderson .Paak and people like that who do
Yeah,
that.
when I
and
watch
make it
that
look
type of stuff, I'm like, how is that even? That seems so hard. Like even to move one hand at one pace than the other,
Yeah.
to me just seems like so difficult to the mind.
Yeah. And the craziest part about it too is like when I saw Anderson .Paak on like the Tiny Desk concert that he did, I was just like, dude, this is so fucking undeniable because like how effortless it was. And then it's like the pocket of his vocals is not the same as the pocket of his drums. It's like he's laying the like you guys know how when you're rapping, sometimes you lay back on the beat and you're putting your vocals in a different spot, a slightly different, like or like Dilla with the drums and stuff. Like I've heard you mention Dilla as an influence. It's like it'll just be slightly off the grid, milliseconds off the grid,
Right, 100%.
and it's like Anderson .Paak is doing that. With the drums is one area, and then also with the vocals, it's almost
That's
like its
amazing.
own pocket.
That's amazing.
So that blows me away. But I'm gonna keep working on it, man.
Nah,
Thank you
no
for
doubt.
reminding me.
Nah, no
'Cause
doubt. No doubt.
sometimes I forget what I got to be working on. That's dope. Well, speaking of like origins and where our musical inspiration comes from, like Rio Loz, I know you're from Colombia originally, correct?
Yeah, man.
So what's that like? I mean, does your Colombian heritage like play a role in your artistry, do you feel like, or just in who you are as a person, and how does that kind of manifest for you?
Yeah, I would say I look at it like, a mesh between that culture and, growing up out here. And, that's kind of like the whole world. That's why the bridge exists, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like bridging those two worlds, those two cultures. And the cool thing about it is that I get to be able to tell and translate things on both sides of the field, you know what I'm saying? And bring references from that side that I can spit in English, but if you come from that, then you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So it's one of those cool things. And just to be able to show people from this side also like all that and, and open up a whole new world. So
Keep that
nah, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing and just so many possibilities with it, yeah.
Absolutely. That's fire, man. And I love the bilingual rapping, dude, is mind blowing to me. Like as a rapper who unfortunately can only rap in one language, every time I see that, I'm blown away, man. Like, and I have to ask, like, is one easier than the other for you?
Yeah, English I would say is easier because that's how I started rapping.
Word.
And then I started like implementing the Spanish, like probably like I want to say like 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
And just so it's more of a newer thing, but we was spitting like since we was like 16, you know. So like you know, I know y'all for sure go way more, you know. But yeah, so I'm more comfortable with the English, but the Spanish is super dope to play with it because it just the way the words are, it allows you to tap into different pockets. And it's like, oh snap! It's like I ain't never really heard this. So it's like, all right, let me see.
Yeah, like this nigga flows get wild in the Spanish.
It
like
get crazy,
he start
you know
dribbling in the Spanish. I'd be like, wow.
I know it's like always some of my favorite parts, even though I have no idea what you're saying.
Right.
But yeah,
it's wild. You could tell when he like even in the Spanish, even for us, like we don't understand what he's saying, but you could tell when he cooking. And like when he really cooking, like you be like, yo, what'd you say right there, bro? I know you was. He like, nah, that's part. I was actually killing it on that part. Nigga, I said da da da. So it's fire. Yeah, I love that. I feel like you tap into a whole nother lane with the rhyme scheme for real.
yeah, it's crazy because like off top freestyling, like how I do it, is super popular in Spanish, in the Spanish language, like in Mexico, Central America, South America too. Like I know in Mexico, there's these huge competitions that are like mad popular, like they fill big arenas and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's cats like freestyling off the top of the dome, but it's not even like always a battle like what we're used to, like with battle rap, where it's like they're not always like tearing each other down. It'll be like they're doing different challenges and stuff, like putting words on a screen, like similar to what I do live.
Right. That's fine.
And they've been doing it since way before me. And I'm always like, damn, dude, this is like a whole world that's probably so dope. And I gotta learn Spanish so I can appreciate how dope it actually is, man.
It's crazy. I remember last time I had went out to Colombia, I was like visiting Medellin, and there was some cats just like going crazy freestyling, but they were like rapping about everything that's happening in real time, and it's just like, but it's beautiful to see like the appreciation of hip hop and the craft out there. So it's really dope for all that, you know what I'm saying, like those breeding grounds. Yeah.
Facts. Yeah. No, that's super dope. Okay, so Apartment 505, obviously the name of your debut album, but also a physical place.
Yeah.
And Raz, I think it was you that I heard say it's also a mindset as well.
Yeah, right.
So I would love if you guys could like talk to us about what it was like living together at Apartment 505, kind of bring my audience into that space if you can.
Right.
And then maybe share a little bit about what you mean when you say it's also a mindset.
Okay. Yeah. Just on the mindset element, when we say Apartment 505 is a mindset, it's more like the mindset of gratitude for us, because if you look at it for what it is, you're not gonna get the full experience of what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a studio apartment, probably like about 400 square feet or less.
Like
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like the size. Yeah, like this for real. And you know, mice, roaches, like, you know what I'm saying?
I always
like,
say rats. I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
they
my
are not
God,
rats.
yeah, bro,
they are
bro,
mice.
bro. You got
You see a rat, it's like this,
That would be
my
a whole
guy.
nother problem.
Yeah, that's
That would
a
be
whole nother problem.
Rats for dramatic effect, my boy. Yo,
I like that.
Mice and rats to me was the same. You feel me? I ain't have mice when I grew up. So rats, it was just as detrimental to me, to my mental health.
The best storytellers are the best exaggerators.
You
man.
gotta
Like,
exaggerate a little bit. You
gotta
feel me?
make it-
Put a
yeah,
little
of
something on
course,
it.
bro.
But nah, like even if you take the exaggeration out, like mold, gnats,
real.
maggots, mice, roaches, like
Almost burned down.
Crib almost burned down. Like
Mold
everything,
on the wall.
mold on the wall, mushrooms going out the wall, like everything you could think of in there, because it was a small apartment. They didn't really have the best ventilation system and stuff like that. It's four people taking a shower every day, like mold in the bathroom. It's nasty work, but. That's all. That
sound like a layer.
Yeah, it sounds like a dungeon. That's a fact.
Like a villainous layer.
Like some medieval times.
Yeah.
It's like when you playing a video game, you gotta go through all these challenges. Yeah, like that part of it is if you don't take the gratitude of it, then you can easily just get lost in that part of it. But that was one element. The other element is you are in a superhero apartment, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you wake up and if it's just like a gloomy day and niggas is bored or whatever the case may be, it's very rare that one person's not trying to better themselves. You know what I'm saying? You got 4 people that all got drive, and so if one person is trying to better themselves in some aspect, then somebody else gonna follow suit. And by the time you look up in 2 to 3 days, everybody's in there working out. Everybody's in there writing. Everybody's in there. Yo, we up at 4 a.m. Like somebody wake up like yo. You know what I'm saying? Everybody pop up, and it's like, yo, my nigga, this shit about to be live, bro. Wait till we pop off, man. Like, when we pop off, the OG's gonna receive us like this. When we pop off, like, we gonna be able to do it like this. And, like, you literally are living in a constant manifestation 24/7. It don't, like, some niggas, like, you might have that one person where you go tap in and talk to about your dreams, and they're your encourager, but then you gotta go back to reality. You know what I'm saying? Your parents will tell you, you can't even talk to that with certain people. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, and with us, that shit was literally from work. Like, we all work together. So it's like, from work, we talking about how it's going to be. At the crib, we talking about how it's going to be. Go to the studio, that's how it's going to be. Like, 24/7 niggas is locked into the manifestation, into the dream. So, for me, when I say 505 is a mindset, it's like, once we moved out, we have to get back to that. Like, oh, shit, bro, we can't forget to let's stay locked in like that, like to keep the vision alive, like, because it's easy to just get lost in you doing shows. You kind of get lost in the sauce. But that 505 mentality is like, for us, it's like the glue and like really the mindset that'll push this shit past what 505 really was physically. You know what I'm saying?
I was about to say too, I feel like another important element that was like captured in 505 was the brotherhood itself. I'm the last member in the group, so. And the oldest. So moving in, my pop always tell me, you never know somebody until you live with them. Right. And I got to know these guys, you feel what I'm saying? So having that element, I feel like coming out here by myself and God blessing me with them and we all linking up like that and them allowing me to stay in there. There's already 3 of them in there. You get a fourth, a fourth person coming in. I feel like you really never know what's on, like, God's radar, you know what I'm saying? And that's why gratitude played a big part, because you don't know what's coming, but you do know what you have, you know what I mean? So to be grateful for that, and to be grateful to be linked up with some good men, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know there's a lot of people out here that move different, and the fact that, like, we all kind of move on the same accord, same morals and things, like, same characteristics, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. I always tell, like, these guys taught me, like, the power of communication. And that being an essential part of this brotherhood. It's like it's a lot. You got to think that's a lot of masculine energy in that room. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if an issue, come up, it wasn't all just like, oh, we're going to make it. Right, it's like, bro, get your feet out my face. Right, can you please stop farting?
Cut
it's
the
like,
light off.
Turn the light off. I'm trying to sleep. Right. I just got off work. You just getting in. Right. So it was a lot of that. But, like, that also taught us, like, just like, it made the glue that much stronger with us. So it's like, people always tell us, like, y'all stick together, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if music was to stop, these guys gonna be the uncle to my kids. Like, so it's like, it's a serious brotherhood. It's like beyond the music. Like, you know what I'm saying? The music is like, what's up? We all got the, same purpose and goals. But it's that much better when it's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? And nothing really like come between that because of what we've been through.
Right. No, that's a fact. I was gonna say, even to the point, I was reflecting on this, like, actually the other day. I think I was telling y'all, like, I realized I'm more codependent when it comes to growth now because of the experience I had. Yeah. But it's like, I look back on that, I'm like, man, the experience was so amazing because we grew exponentially. So, like, how, like, it might take somebody, and this is just whether it's just rap or, like, life or lessons, whatever the case is, like, it might take somebody maybe, like, 5 years to get to a certain level of maturity coming from a certain situation. Like, that would happen in, like, a span of, like, a year. You know what I'm saying? Because we got 4 people reflecting on it, looking at it from this perspective, this, that, and the third, to the point, like, we all grew up different ways, but, like, we was able to implement just off, like he said, like, when we got in the room, and he got 6 years on all of us, so he coming in there as a pretty much, he a grown man by the time he coming up in there. We still kids, you know what I'm saying? But, like, then realizing, like, oh, okay, all right, so now, you know what? Different things we got to do. We getting in fights, but we're not calling each other out each other's names. So it's no, oh, you a bitch or da-da-da-da. It's none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we building, like, a level of, like, respect that I now operate with outside of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't call nobody out their name or disrespect anybody in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of us do. You know what I'm saying? So it's, like, things like that we was able to learn, coming from that place and being like that. I feel like those are some of the keys that even when we look at it and when we say, like, man, we want to extend that mindset, it's like, if you could put 4 black men, especially the stigma that they try to give us, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could put 4 black men all in one room, grown, you got all these different same scenarios, you know what I'm saying? We're not living in the best neighborhood. then and get this result, then you can take that same like experiment, I guess, and put it on a grander scale. And that's kind of how we look at it.
That's what the music is that we trying to push. That's the energy behind the music.
Right.
That's beautiful, man. That's deep right there, and I love like what I take away from that is like one, full immersion. It's like full immersion in the craft. It's like you say, like no distractions really. You're in it nonstop, 24/7. Like I think about sometimes you'll hear like creatives or people say like if you don't know if it's gonna work out, like give it a year and give it everything you have for that full year. You know, like full immersion, and then see. And I feel like you guys had multiple years of that full immersion and just like you say, growing so fast. And then the fact that it's not only you're bettering yourselves as artists, but you're bettering yourselves as human beings. It's
100%.
That's deep,
right,
man.
right. Even and it's oddly enough, like even I think one thing that I learned and I believe we all learned in the 505 experience was like there's a certain door that it's feel like it's almost like an invisible door. And I think I spoke on this before, but it's like there's this door that it's almost like, yo, why won't this damn door open? Like I'm hustling. I know I'm hustling. You know what I'm saying? Like I know I'm talented. You know what I'm saying? Like what's this door that I just can't quite get through? And I feel like that's the human growth, the human development. Like you could be the most talented person to be a complete asshole, and it's like you making it to whatever extent. The best advice we ever got, Raekwon. He said, "Man, it's not how Raekwon the chef." Yeah, shout out. Yeah, put that full. Pardon me, I don't even know you. They might think you talking about Quan from up the block. You know what I'm saying? Raekwon the chef. Raekwon, right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like Ray. That's amazing. Much respect. Nah, Raekwon the chef. You feel me? Nah, he was like, yo, it's not about how you go up the mountain. It's about how you go down. And it's like, and I think, E, what did you say the other day, bro?
Hip hop is a young man's sport, but success is a long man's game.
And that to me right there, that 100%. Long man's game is human development. Like it's actual personal development. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when I look at like the trajectory that we've been on, I'm like, man, if we would have got at this stage too early, it don't work. We might fizzle out as a unit. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't work because we don't know how to say no to niggas. It don't work because, you know what I'm saying? So like that 505 experience was outside of the craftsmanship, was like personal development. That's niggas like my flaws. These niggas checking me. You know what I'm saying? It's easy when one nigga tell you something, you be like, all right, watch out. You know what I'm saying? 3 niggas tell you like, bro, you tripping? You gotta be like, all right, I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it's like having that, like three people that's gonna always hold you accountable. 3 people, even like to the point to where we all work together. So getting to see what the work ethic of a man really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, nigga, like none of us feel like doing this, but who gonna do it? It's like, all right, we all gonna do it. All right, cool. So now we know niggas is down to get to work, even if this don't look like it's going in the direction we want it to go. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I think all the gems we got out of that 505 experience is like, that's what it's such a special time in our lives. Like, you know what I'm saying? For real.
I about to say too, like, one of the things that really was like helpful was like reading books.
Absolutely.
And like I hated school, you know what I'm saying? But it's like realizing like it's a difference between being told to read something that you're not even interested in and get educated on and know it than actually reading something that you just interested in. You know what I mean? It's a total difference. So, you know, just growing up, not wanting to read, like get a book away from me. Like I'm not that guy. I open up, I start, you know, dozing off. But then, you know, in 505, I started reading. Like I actually, you know, got a book. My lady got me the book. And it was Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I start reading that, and I'm like, yo, this got some. I'm attracted to it. I'm actually interested in this, and I think Raz, if I'm not mistaken, did you read The Magic of Thinking Big?
Yep.
Yeah, The Magic of Thinking Big, and like us working at the restaurant, I see him. He like, you know, it's a restaurant. Like we don't want to be there, but this is what we have. So, but we're grateful for it. And like you was looking at the building across the street.
It's like a little shed across the way.
Yeah.
And it was like the book was just teaching you how to like you see something. It's the 505 the philosophy. Like you see something but don't see it for what it is. What can it be?
Yeah.
Why can't you see maybe you could be creative and add more value to it just with your imagination. Yeah. And it's like looking at the shed and then just like what would make this shed worth $1 million? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like
That's
just
funny.
taking that time on the job to do it. I was still working. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? Be clear. On the little downtime. You know what I'm saying? On a little downtime. But yeah.
Raz just looking at the shed. I'm hitting the bell like food.
Nigga, magic is doing work, my nigga. Like, get busy, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's incredible. No, man, I love it. And I'm in the exact same boat. I hated reading as a kid. because it's hard for me to focus like that. And then now as an adult, I love reading, man, and I'm especially stuff like I love the Napoleon Hill joint was huge for me. I have a song called Napoleon Hill because I was so inspired by that book.
Fire.
So
That's
yeah, that one's huge for me. I haven't read The Power of Thinking Big though. I got to check that out next. But yeah, and when you talk about that invisible door, like I think about that a lot too, where it's like I feel like you have your talent level and then you have your personal beliefs. And until they're both ready, you can't go up to that next level.
Yep.
And like for me, it's like big time. Like I used to deal with a lot of like self-esteem stuff and like fear, you know, to put myself out there. I've been rapping since I was 10, you know, but why did it take me till 27 to actually like put a video out and start like pushing my shit and like really trying to build a career? And it's like when I first came out freestyling, people were like, it was like I came out of nowhere with these skills because the talent I've been building since I was 10. But the personal belief was still like, nah, you can't do that. Or like, it's not dope enough, or no one's going to fuck with it, you know? So it's like the belief in myself was keeping me at such a low rung. And then as soon as I could break through that, it was like the talent was waiting up here. So it was just like, boom, here we go. Now we can actually break through a little bit.
And it's funny because for me, I almost feel like, you know how in a video game, it's like that invisible barrier that'll keep you from falling off a cliff or falling off I feel like it's there for your protection in most cases, because then if you don't got that self-esteem, then you're vulnerable when you get in these spaces. And we see time and time again, people get preyed on and just not being like able to guard themselves against some of the forces that you might encounter. And like, I don't mean that on no Star Wars Jedi shit, but just that's in regular life too.
I love Star Wars Jedi shit
in a corporate space, like, you know what I mean? But I feel like sometimes people like over exaggerate it, but I think we run into these forces every day in life. Like whether you going a corporate route or going a industry route or whatever the case may be, like shit, going to school, like you might just get picked on because you ain't got that self-esteem or that belief. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all of that I think is definitely for our protection for sure.
100%. No, I agree. Okay, so Never Freestyle comes out February 2022. Crazy video. If anybody listening to this or watching this hasn't seen it, go watch it right now. It's just insane, and I was blown away by it like everybody else. And just the fact that all of you guys brought it like so hard. Like nobody was outshine. It was just like, and you all took a different approach to the joint, and everybody killed it. Repost by every legend in the game, it seems like. Just crazy exposure. Like I said, 16 million views on YouTube alone. Who knows how many millions of views everywhere else. Did you guys know you had something special with that one when you made it?
100%.
Yes, indeed.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we didn't know to what magnitude.
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
like we felt like we was like, all right, it's going, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to do the thizzle. Yeah,
It had been like slight, like for us at the time, like there was like slight like viral, just like spikes in viewership and stuff like that. And then when we heard that one, we was like, nigga, this, no matter what nobody say, we know for us, this is at least a level up for us artistically with the penmanship. Like, so then after it did what it did, it was like, okay, that makes sense for this one to do that. You know what I mean?
Now talk to me about this one though, because I know, you know what I'm saying, at the time you had the hair, all that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, everything, you know what I'm saying? It was a big thing. I need that respect.
Even talk about the process of your verse in particular, because
oh man, so, you know, all right, so quick, you know, note, I wasn't like the twins, I wasn't even like raised with hip hop. Like it wasn't like always like right there with me. I didn't start rapping until I was 19 in college. And I would freestyle in high school, you know what I'm saying? And people was like, yo, you should write. And I'm like, that's not what I want to do. I wanted to do real estate. So, you know, once I figured out I could rap, or like people actually like what I said, I was 19, and I was like, if I'm not on by the time I'm 22, I quit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not 22. You know what I'm saying? So coming out with these guys, and they were telling me like, yo, you got to do your homework. And I'm like, what you mean? They like, you got to go back and like study. You know, study who you know, the ones that like did this shit before us. And that's exactly what I did. So you wouldn't have got Never if they never told me to go do that. So when I went back and go study, I'm watching all the groups, you know, Tribe, I'm watching Wu-Tang, everybody, and the ones that stuck out to me was Method Man and ODB. And they stuck out to me, and it was just so I found it attractive how they said their words. So, you know, when Never came up, and I'm like, all right, how we about to approach this one? I'm always trying to approach it different. And when approaching that one, it was like, I should tell a story. And I was like,
quick note too, he always been an ill storyteller. Like
Yo.
that's one of his superpowers.
I didn't
from the
even
jump.
notice though. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yo,
Yeah.
I know that the story that you tell in that verse, man,
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
so dope. And with
Thank
like
you.
the moral at the end and everything on
Yeah.
some Slick Rick shit, dude. Like it's
Yeah.
amazing, man.
I didn't
Yeah.
even like notice like storytelling was my thing. But when I go back and listen to my work, I'm like, damn, I've been telling stories.
Yeah,
a lot.
the whole time.
So I'm like,
100%.
okay, cool. But even when when I wrote it, I was like, I'm going up against monsters. So I'm like, damn, I'm telling the story. Am I taking the easy way out? Like, how am I about to do this? And I was like, it's not about to be on the level that I think it should be at. And I had seen like I be paying attention to signs and whatnot. So I know I was somewhere and I was like really doubtful about the verse. I'm like worried about bringing it to him. I'm like, damn, this joint about to be weak. Cause they'll tell you right again, nope, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So I go ahead and I see like 444, and I was like, that's God talking to me. He was like, and it said to me, this verse is going to do everything it's supposed to do, no more, no less. So just let it go. It's done. So that's when I was like, all right, bet it is what it is. And like, yeah, when we did it, you know what I'm saying, and it got the reaction that it got. I was like a little like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was really dope for all the OGs to tap in. And I think, was it the day before we released or the
It was
day?
like,
I think
either the week of,
No, 'cause-
Yeah.
or
the
the
day
week
of.
before. I think it was the week
So
before.
we was on tour when it was started
Yeah,
going.
it started
Yeah,
picking
We
up.
was just
So-
like, what's
no,
going
it
on?
was a month before, wasn't it?
A month
I think it was
before?
like a month before because
Yeah,
we was on
yeah,
tour.
you're right.
Yeah, we was on tour.
Right. Yeah. And then like Kevin Hart posted it.
Yeah, the
And it
day
was
of
crazy.
our album release.
Yeah,
Kevin
so
Hart
the
Yeah,
was
that was
buzz was
wild.
up for the
Shout
album.
out.
So like, it was just so like, it was amazing. It was really amazing. And yeah, Jid commented like, y'all, I gotta see y'all about that. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like,
right. That was fire.
competitively,
That was
you know what I'm
fire.
saying, in a good way.
Shout out to Jay too,
Yeah,
because
shout
that
out
was the
to
biggest
JID, man.
inspiration for that.
That beat, we took. Hold on, we gotta actually get that man his flowers.
100%.
That him and Childish Major.
Yeah.
That beat is so fire, but the only reason we stepped on it like that was because y'all got to go listen to the original, like
Yeah.
what he did to it,
Yeah.
like that, like
Get this shit jumping
like Zaboomer fool, like yo, y'all know Jig got crazy pockets
Yeah.
Oh,
and
he's
flows
crazy.
and shit like that.
Yeah, he's
but like
amazing.
the way he steps on that joint is it's like a second it's one beat and it transitions into that, and like the way he steps on it, it was just like for me we love this shit. So whenever we hear like a new nigga that's just like I'm like, oh man, I'm a fan of it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's fire. So it was just one of them things like when niggas got the beat, it's like, oh yeah, you gotta already come at the level that he was already on. So that's literally off the telling of what he did. So
By saying
it's amazing.
One of the weird things too, and I don't want to call it weird because it was supposed to happen. Like that started. So we've been doing those freestyles, and
Right.
then like the album dropped, Never's taken off,
Right.
and when people found out like it's not just one freestyle that they did, they got something.
Right,
They was like,
right.
we want more of that. So it's kind of weird because we be on tour and we be like, yo, who knows in here for Apartment 505? Like 25% be like, yeah. We be like, who knows in here for the table freestyle? So we be like, oh, so some people be like, well, they got an album out?
Right.
So it's such a difference in like, it was just like a different, I don't want to say the word weird, but it was necessary, I guess.
Right.
I will say the beauty because Apartment 505 came out before we ever did the freestyles. That was we
Yeah.
started
Created.
Yeah, we
Created way
we
before the
created that
freestyles.
well
Yeah.
before. We did the freestyles to bring to promote the
Yeah.
album. That was just a way for us to just try to garner some attention to bring that back to the album.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is like when we was doing the album, we went into it and just excited as it's the first one we did together. So finding the chemistry with that and stuff like.
Yeah.
But we wanted to focus on really making songs and figure out how can we be cohesive as a unit and not like try to out rap each other.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
purpose ain't to out rap each other on these joints. It's to actually get across whatever the message is on the song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas like the thing that we love is rapping. You know what I'm saying? So when we get to the table, and I think what people can see is like the genuine hunger of just like I want to come as hard as I possibly can on this joint, and like I got three other dudes that I know is gonna come as hard as they can on this joint. You know what I'm saying? Pause if need be. You know what I'm saying? I saw him looking at me. I saw him saying, this nigga he do this thing like,
no, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
I'm letting you
This nigga do
slide.
this
You
thing.
know what I'm saying?
He'll look at you and he be like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, nigga, you feel me? But nah, anyway, like, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna go. You know what I'm saying? I can't even say it now, but yeah, just
You're
go
gonna rap
off.
really
He's gonna
well,
Rap
man.
really well. You know what I'm saying?
Rap
He gonna
very good.
Rap very well. You know what I'm saying? And I think that element was more like a playground style of it, which was
Yeah.
pretty cool because
Yeah.
even coming into like the music we're doing now as well, it's like is to eliminate some of them ideas you think you gotta have, the structures you think you gotta have. It's like, nah, niggas can rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? You hear a lot. Like, people don't want to hear that rapping. No, they do actually. They do.
Dude, like I want to hear it, man, for sure.
Oh
Like,
man, that's love. That's love.
We didn't know that people actually wanted to hear people rap. Like,
100%.
that's what. So when Apartment
100%.
505 was created, we was really like, don't. That's too long of a verse.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
but then when you get to the table and people loving it, we like, wait, they actually want to hear us.
Right,
All
right.
right, let's get busy.
8 minutes. You know
And
what
on
I'm
top
saying?
of
Niggas
that,
just going through the whole thing.
it was
Right.
also dope. It was also dope because like they play video games like in Apartment 505.
Right.
I don't play video games. My brother did, and I would try to, and I was the one that would lose my temper and like break the joystick. So I was like, you know what, video games not for me. You know, I'm older now. I play what was that, Mortal Kombat?
Yeah,
With
Mortal
them.
Kombat tournaments.
Yeah. They whooping my ass. I ended up punching the damn dresser. I was like, see, video games not for me. But what I took from that was like, even with like video games and then looking at Wu-Tang and the different, MCs back in the day, they all had different styles. So it was like, it was beautiful to, when we come to the table, I don't want you to get the same style you got from me last time.
Right.
It's like, what style can I use? Like, it's kind of ironic because like people say like the music today sound alike, and then like when you come to us, I'm like, you never probably gonna hear the same Taj Austin.
Right.
It's like, no, dude, it's just different styles, but you know it's gonna be fire. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly like what at bare minimum, it got to be fire. So yeah.
And something that I definitely wanted to do, especially here on this podcast, I definitely want to clear up for the fact of freestyling and off the top. And to make sure that we clear up because what you actually do, again, let me clap you up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm definitely gonna have to do that.
Yeah,
It's incredible what you do. Yeah,
100%. 100%.
100%.
So to even speak on that, because we come from the philosophy and from how I had come to know it. Even watching, they got a video of it. Who was it? It's
LL
Cool J,
Redman,
Redman and them, and like breaking down like we know freestyling to be. Freestyling, at least for us, in a sense of like, that's when you keep a written on you, and it's a bullet. It's like, so when you use this, it's like, yo, I'm about to come with these different freestyles. You come with boom, boom. To actually have the ability to do this off the top of the head, I know that for off the top. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's a lot of people that mistake what we do for what you do, and I feel like that's not fair. Because it's not that I don't want to even take.
Because I can't come half as lyrical as you guys off the top.
I don't.
No, seriously.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not even fair for me to say like, well, I can do what you do.
Yeah, it's not.
That's
not.
not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sincerely, because I was joking a little bit, but likewise, it's like I also, on the writing side, like you guys are people that I look up to from way down here. So I appreciate.
We've been hearing the songs. You enjoy.
Oh, okay.
I've been hearing these songs. You know what I'm saying?
I'm working on it.
You going hard.
Thank you. I'm working on it.
Yeah,
but no, I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's funny because like my understanding too is like the word freestyle, the meaning of it has changed over time.
Right.
Like even
Right.
back in the beginning, like in the 80s and stuff, like I heard Big Daddy Kane say that a freestyle was not improvised back then. It just meant like a lyrical flex, like a dope rhyme that's not about any one particular subject.
Right.
And then at some point in the 90s, like it, with like Freestyle Fellowship and like Idea and Super Nat and Juice and legends like that. Shout out to all those the OGs who laid the groundwork. That's when it started to mean improvised and off the top of the dome, So and then what's funny and ironic is now it actually has come back to the original meaning, and I have no qualms with it. Like I love written freestyles just as much as I love off top freestyles as a fan and as a listener, But yeah, it is confusing to the audience sometimes because people get it twisted and then they think the rich shit is
they like, how did they all time that at the same time? I'm like, I wish we had that.
If we had that ability, but I'm like, I just wanted to make it be known because I feel like. Again, I feel like that this is, to at least for me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I look at what you do as like a real life superpower, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just genuinely no lie. I feel like.
And the fact that when I watch you on Sway, and it's like coming up, like it's one thing to freestyle like and make it make sense. I think that's the ultimate challenge. Like it's like to make it make sense. But that next like upper echelon God tier to me is to come up with bars on the spot. Then in my head, I'm like, damn, what? It's almost like writing in real time because I'm watching you connect things and still make it a bar. Like that to me is it's amazing, bro. I can't lie.
Not only that, but to add onto that, I seen the joint I think he was in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just the pockets, like, but the I think it's like a double time, but I think that comes from the drum, so that makes sense.
Yep.
But man, like, just to do that improvising, it's crazy.
That's
bro.
wild.
You understand?
Right.
We be about to go
Oh,
up on
man.
stage nervous.
Thank you,
We
man.
we know our lyrics.
Yeah,
We
right,
know-
right.
How you feel? Use the bathroom yet? It's like, bro, like, so to be,
Right,
you know, in
right.
front of these icons and these different people and still be that sharp.
Right.
Who
That's what I'm
knows?
saying. Like,
Yeah,
especially for a
Thank
big
you, guys.
moment. Like for a
Yeah.
big moment, that adrenaline of like, damn, I'm known as this, so I can't mess that up. You know what I'm saying? But to keep consistently proving time and time again, I'm curious. How do you like for anybody that does want to learn how to freestyle? Like, what is the advice you give them?
So the first thing is, if you're just starting out, you're probably not going to be dope. Speaking from experience, because my
Right.
first
Right,
freestyles were
right,
whack.
right.
So I think that's the biggest barrier to entry is as adults, especially. Like I'm lucky because I started when I was 10. When you're 10, you don't really care like if you're dope or not.
Right,
Like I
right,
was just
right.
like watching 106 in Park and seeing these freestyle battles and being like, that's fucking amazing.
Right,
I'm
right.
10. I'm gonna
right.
try it. You know, I don't give a fuck. Like I'm gonna do my
Right.
thing, and so I was just having so much fun with it. But a lot of times, like I'll meet people who are like in their 20s or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I want to start freestyling," and it's like, dude, you just got to be down to sound bad. You know, if you're not down to sound bad, then you're never gonna be able to sound great.
Right.
You know, and so that's the first thing is you have to just dive in, and then I mean the other big things are just like I think listening is so important. Like I've just been obsessed with hip hop since I was a kid, you know, and listening to anything I could get my hands on. And so it's just like a language, right? It's like you absorb the shit through osmosis, you know, the more you listen to, the more you pick up on different rhythms and pockets and different ways to connect rhymes and things of that nature. And then there's like techniques and things that I actually utilize to put the freestyle together. Like you guys probably noticed, like I do this setup punchline thing, right? So it's like if I'm going to rap about the beanie, I save it and I say something that rhymes with beanie first.
Yeah,
I put my words together
right,
cleanly.
right.
All my
Yeah.
bars going over domes like a beanie. So it's
Right,
like
right,
that
right.
way I'm kind of always toggling between a setup and a target. And so it's like that can help me keep on track with what I'm doing.
So
and
do you hear the lines first in your head before you say them? Is that
Yeah,
or are you
sort of.
just observing to see where I'm gonna jump to this next? I'm gonna jump to this.
it's kind of like I'm overlapping them slightly. Like I see your hat with the gold, right?
Right.
So I think like shining in gold. And then right when I think of that,
That's
I quickly
hard.
think like I'm rhyming too cold or something. And I just kind of navigate it off of the dome. I'll be
Right.
rhyming too cold every time that I'm spit. And right as I'm about to say shining, like then
You already on
see
to the
heads.
next one.
And I'm like, as I
Wow.
finish saying that,
Yeah.
I start saying,
Yeah.
yo, a while out in the spot like red, man,
Right.
going over your dome like the head.
Head
So
man. Yeah,
as
yeah.
I'm finishing
That's
that,
tough.
I see the necklace. And so it's just like,
That's crazy.
I'm not that
That's
far
tough.
ahead. It's
Right,
just
right,
like
right.
as I'm finishing the couplet, I'm like, oh, coffee. Okay, coaster.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah, yo,
That's
that's
amazing.
man.
That's amazing.
crazy.
That's
You
amazing.
never lose your keys. You always got a good memory. You good. Like,
actually,
you-
yeah, I do lose my keys way too much for somebody that can do what I just said.
That's amazing.
That's
dog.
cold.
That's absolutely
That's cold.
amazing.
Oh, man, that's
that
amazing.
attention to
Super tough.
detail
That's
is amazing,
super
though.
dope.
That's
Hell
fire.
yeah.
Incredible.
Man,
Incredible.
appreciate you guys. Well, this is super dope. We forgot to start the timer. Oh, there we got a timer. Okay, dope. We got a bit of time. Something I really wanted to talk to you guys about too, and something I really respect about you guys is, you know, you've seen all this growth. Like you were laying groundwork for years before, then the Never Freestyle takes it to a whole nother echelon. All these opportunities coming your guys' way. And through that, you've remained independent. And I've heard you cite, you know, other incredible artists, Toby and Wigway, who I know you guys have a joint with, which is
100%,
incredible.
yeah. Shout out Big
That
Toe,
video
man.
is
Big Toe, come on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good looking. Good looking.
That's crazy. And he's amazing. And also La Russell and people I've heard you mention in terms of like proving that it's possible to stay in your lane and build it independently and, you know, leverage social media to build an audience. That's what you guys have done. Why is it important to you guys to be independent?
I know for sure one of the biggest things is it usually, at least in the beginning, it always came down to like that mindset, like, yo, we gotta have artistic integrity. So that's very big and important because we know, like I said, honestly, I genuinely feel like any one of us could have been individual artists. So it's like God put us together for a reason, and nothing can compromise the purpose for why we're here. And a lot of times, you know, people feel like they can just, nah, don't do that, do this, or you know, nah, you know what, that's a little too conscious. Let's, like, you know what I'm saying. So we didn't want none of that. And then on top of that, we got like it's the Coast Contra like vision extends so far beyond just what we're doing right now. This is like the foundation of it. It's such a much bigger, you know what I mean, play in effect, and we want to try to make sure because everything is about impacting the culture in the right way. You know what I'm saying? And so we feel like we're custodians of the culture, and you don't want to give that like position up to anybody else to control. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the problem today. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the custodians don't have actual authority over the culture. Other people do. You know what I'm saying? And so as custodians, we just want to make sure our culture is kept together, sacred, you know what I'm saying, and treat it the right way, you know what I mean? Highlight it, and that's how you give it back when we pass it on to the next people after us. They got something that's correct. You know what I'm saying? You hear so many times, like, oh man, in my deal, they did this, they did that. They've been saying that for 50 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the fact that it ain't changed yet, that means we got to do something different. You know what I mean? And so we just want to take that approach to do something different, ultimately. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and honestly, what better time than now? Like we got the ability to do it. You know what I'm saying? It might be like intimidating, or it might be like hard work or the long way. You know what I'm saying? How they say. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, we gonna have to do the same work with or without a label, regardless. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's like no imaginary button that niggas could press behind you. I think you still got to get out there and get it in. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, why not just do it amongst what we got going on? And not to say that if we make it make sense for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really the big thing.
Yeah, and also just like, you know, the whole getting signed route. Looking from the outside in, it's a lot of things that you don't know in the reality of it, you know what I'm saying? Right. And we've been blessed to get the advice and, you know, just from people that have gone through those experiences and dealt with the ups and downs of it, you know. So, you know, it's good to take heed, for sure.
Yeah, what I add on that is just like when the Never Freestyle dropped and we on tour and all that, the Jimmy Fallon, the Dave Chappelle, all that stuff kind of happened real fast. And, you know, when things are happening like that and the momentum is like skyrocketing, you got a lot of people knocking on your door and kind of things like that. And it's exciting. You know what I mean? It's exciting. But it's like you can't like, I don't know how the quote come to my head. My pop always tell me, everybody's smiling, not smiling. So it's like when you see I think of the Matrix, the girl in the red dress, you know what I'm saying? You see how beautiful, and you know what I'm saying, and how attractive everything is, but you don't know their intentions. You don't know if you're talking about her, you don't know her intentions, her agenda, and it's a whole thing of like that you don't know about. Like, it's like, oh, even like when you're looking at the ocean, you're like, how beautiful, look how gorgeous it is. And then you get in that motherfucker, and it's like, yo.
Sorry. Oh, shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not wise to, like, you know, swimming something, you don't know what you're getting in, you know what I'm saying? Or you're getting something and you don't know how to swim type time. So it's like, it's taking this time, one, to work on our craft, build our chemistry. That was the table. That's what we was doing, learning all that on the artistic side and, you know, sharpening the pen. But then on the business side, to actually take the time to, like, educate yourself. Like, because at first, it was like, we independent. It sounds cool. You know what I mean? He's like, but what you going to do with your masters? You know what to do? And it's like, not really. So go educate yourself. And I want to give a shout out to Ty Basin. We, you know, read the book.
Culture Playbook.
Yeah, the Culture
Definitely
Playbook, Volume 1. Waiting on Volume 2. Yeah. I definitely highly recommend that book for any artist that want to do this independently, or, you know, find different ways to, like, navigate this without just going to go sign. Even if you want to sign, you can
still have that info.
Yeah, have. It's just good to be knowledgeable about. Right. You know what I'm saying? What you don't know can hurt you. And like we found that out without, you know, like getting hurt too much, but we definitely was like, oh, no, fire hot. That's actually hot. Right. It ain't just, you know, I mean, keep you warm. It can actually burn you. So educate yourself. Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Yeah, that's huge, man. And I mean, all of that resonates with me. I'm an independent artist myself, and I've had to educate myself, like you say, figure out how to navigate. I've made tons of mistakes, you know, and then, you know, learn from those mistakes and recovered. And yeah, I mean, I think it's true what you say. Like, it's going to be hard work no matter what, right? And like, I would way rather do the work of educating myself and controlling what I make and controlling who I am and how I'm perceived by the world than the work of, like, trying to buy my way out of a horrible contract, owe a bunch of money back to a label that I can't recoup, so now I got to get some other job, or have my album, it never comes out. Like, I mean, if you got to choose, like, it's going to be hard either way.
Yeah.
So
it's the difference between learning and being learned. You know what I'm saying? You rather just learn it. You know what I'm saying? 100%. Yeah.
And I do think there's also this, like, feeling, it's like when I was younger, you know, having no idea how anything worked, it's like, everybody was always like, oh, cool, you rap. Like, are you trying to get signed? And it's like, hell yeah, I'm trying to get signed. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
They come give me money and then like I'm famous or something. Like, you have no idea. It's like, now I'm on. Like, that sounds amazing, you know? And there's this like sort of perception that like someday if you're good enough or if you have a lucky break, somebody's gonna come save you. And I feel like I've just learned it's like nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you.
Nobody at all.
It's hard. It's gonna come at a
Crazy.
price. You know what I'm saying? Like, and rightfully so. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's, I think ultimately, like, and that's something that I'm so grateful for us for is like, I think ultimately for us is preserving. This not we operate under the belief that this is not ours. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not ours. We literally are stewards of what God's been giving us. And so like, even for us, if we wanted to, like sometimes when we bump our heads and stuff, we not even allowed like to make certain mistakes. Like it just don't even happen for us. Like God would literally just smack niggas down. Like, yo, we not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like for us, I'm so grateful for everything we've been on because I literally feel like we bowling with the lanes up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just been just kind of going through this pace. And even recently realizing, like allowing, even though the mind be running, because you know shit happen pretty fast, and so then you might just be like assume like, damn, all right, cool. Then that means by that metric, by next year we'll be here. You know what I'm saying? And then, but I think like even letting all of that go and just realizing like, man, it's gonna happen on the time it's supposed to progress in, and you just make sure you learn everything you're supposed to learn in the meantime. You know what I'm saying? You'll be ready for every step that you get to. You know what I mean?
Right. No, it's big facts.
Huge, man. Huge. One more thing I want to ask you guys while we're here, because I know the Old Way mixtape is out right now.
Right.
It's fire. I love the joint Ayo.
Yeah.
I love the whole thing. But that's what I'm about to say. Dude, that beat goes crazy, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
I mean, that's like my favorite type of beat is like, you know, I hear the Dilla influence and the, you know, the Dusty Rhodes chords and the, you know, off the grid drums and all that. Side note, are you planning to do more production for the group going forward?
Yeah. You know, we cooking, man. Yeah, we cooking. Just trying to keep an open mind. It's something that I just kind of like, just do it because like I would be like, I just love sounds. You know, I used to play the trumpet too back in the day, so I was just, you know, love sounds. So you know, but I'm always throwing things to the pot, like always. You know, like whoever
Sent the pack the other day. You know what I'm saying? Sent it like he was, you know what I'm saying, wasn't even in the group.
Let's go.
Gotta
official
submit that.
email and everything.
No, I love it, and everybody killed it on the song lyrically. I have questions for every single person's contribution, but we're getting a little low on time. But I did want to say, Raz, I'm pretty sure it was in your verse, which I loved, where you had this line that stood out to me so much, where you say, who am I? Not your favorite rapper, but your favorite person, right?
Yeah.
Dude, and that resonated so much with me. I've heard you guys talk about, you know, balancing, like, being professional artists, MCs, like, and we know that can be so all-consuming, right? It's not only our career, it's our passion. It's a big part of how we identify ourselves, right? Balancing that with being complete humans, right? And taking time to invest in like your relationships, your families, the people around you, being willing to take breaks when things are moving super fast, right? Like, I guess just to kind of close out here, like, why is it important to you guys to strike that balance?
I think in that, for me, I realized, especially the space I wrote that from at the time, was because I had more value, I had more love for the rapper Ras Austin than I did for the person Ras Austin. You know what I'm saying? And like I invested more into the rapper Ras Austin because I feel like that's the part about myself that I like. You know what I'm saying? Like the where the insecurities is at, then that nigga don't really get no love. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, it was and then I also think from the perspective of like me being a fan of somebody and somebody being my favorite rapper and just like investing into that person. You know what I'm saying? Thinking like, damn, this nigga's perfect, or damn, this nigga raps so good. If only I could rap like this nigga. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like just like kind of reminding people like the most important person, like whether somebody's inspiring you, and even for me, even if that rapper part of myself inspires me and gives me a boost in confidence, whatever the case may be, is like the person in the mirror is ultimately where my peace of mind got to reside. You know what I'm saying? So like I think it's very important because once I put the mic down, it's like I'm gonna spend more time off the mic than I am on the mic, to be honest. And it's like, how have I really like garnered a peaceful garden for myself? You know what I'm saying? Like, is my family nurtured? Is my lady nurtured? Am I nurtured? You know what I'm saying? Am I at peace? And ultimately too, I had to make peace with like, this shit could not go nowhere further than this. And am I going to attach my happiness to whatever idea of success I think this is supposed to get to? Do I got to win the Grammy before I say, I'm successful, I'm at peace, you know what I'm saying? Or what's going to be the thing? Because that goalpost can always move and will always move. So it's like, for me, the human element of it is to make sure that despite everything else, the fact that niggas is here, that's enough for me. You know what I'm saying? Everything else after that is the icing on the cake, for real.
Huge, bro. Love that. That resonates with me tenfold, bro. Yeah, and that's something I've been figuring out myself too. It's like, for so long as a kid, it was just like, I have to make it in music.
Right.
Like, that's it. That's like the only criteria.
Right.
You know, and it was like, as long as I make it in music, it's like you attach yourself to this false perception of like, if I make it in music, everything will be okay.
Right.
Everything will be good.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And then it's like you start having a bit of success and you're like, oh, okay, well, but now I need more success.
Yeah.
Then it'll all be good.
Yeah.
You know? Then I'll be good. And anytime I catch myself, you know, I go into that thought pattern often. I fall into that trap of like, oh, if I just had X, everything will be cool. And it's like, dude, if everything can't be good right now, then it's not going to be good when I get whatever the accolade is or whatever the numbers are that I'm chasing, you know? But that is a hard journey to learn, because I feel like you have to dig in so hard to make it in music that you can end up feeling like that's everything.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Man, well, Coast Contra, yo.
Come
Thank you
on,
guys
man.
so
Thank
much,
you,
man,
brother,
for
for
being
real.
here.
Thank you.
This has
having
been absolutely incredible. And I think you guys are not only inspiring as artists, but also inspiring as human beings.
Man,
and
thank
so
you.
it's
Thank
just,
you. Likewise.
thank you,
Likewise,
man.
for real.
Appreciate that. And I know that this is going to resonate with a lot of people in my audience who are watching this and listening to this. And I'm just very, very grateful.
Appreciate that,
thank
man.
you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I normally close this thing out with some bars, but I got like some of the illest MCs in the game here with me right
100%,
now.
yeah.
Like, you guys want to, no pressure. Y'all want to spit something though?
Let's do
Super
it.
down.
Absolutely. Yeah. How you want to do it? Y'all, we can run it down the line.
Go ahead.
Let's see. I lurked inside a casket, rehearsed until my live show is mastered. My verses go beyond the Bible chapters. I push collection plates past the pastors and feed the masses. Apartment 505 don't even need an address. It's mental. It's monumental. Better mind your mental. Gotta drop game since the pros forever confidential. Though my name, the rah-rah, was never my initial. Moved official until we blew like flag whistle. Past body tissue, I work into the bone gristle. These niggas plain and them hoes that flown with you. Keep your magazines, I got my own issues. I right wrongs, we write songs with you. 1, 2, mic check, the bill alone convince you. Got the credential, could fill a womb with a lot of potential. Was in a room with 4 niggas divided the rent through. All that we been through made us sharp, swift as a Ginsu. I gripped the pencil impatient, trying to rewrite creation. Spitting dope, shit could provoke a junkie's imagination. I'm with the coast and this type of dope don't imagination. Come on, look. Cause I remember thinking out the box we was living in. Plot for some dividend. Roach rat was sickening. Still cat sticking and moving and fidgeting. Stuck in our predicament, stuck together like sibling. Siamese twinning, we stuck to this hip into the hop. We jump skip your shit, we ain't listening. Much repetition when everybody is mimicking. All day y'all say blah, 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 yet again and again, Oh, well, call it a humpback, but don't call it a comeback. That would imply that y'all done that. Don't do that. This shit is fly. They probably run back like who that, then testify. Coast Contra. Yes, it's chip off the old block, not Tetris. The RAS is worldwide respected. We moving through your block like mailman with message. Envelope with mic check it, Yeah.
Okay. I see you.
All right. Coast to coast with why I could can that flavor. Back before the glow, the shit been major. From 1973 till infinity, I paint a picture so fresh you smell it like graffiti. If I ever take a break, it's to let the poppers break. From the beats to the streets, we in tune with the elements. Hip hop, represent. Fresh to death, we live, please come again. En cualquier idioma, you could tell your friends I start where they end. Now, let me begin. Dial in the name, bringing light ears now. We here now, fly, need a lid now. If I land, it's to tear the game down. I wasn't tripping before, but I don't care now. Put your hands up, this a shakedown. Give me all you got. Watch out for these rappers spin. Baby Potter talking about his dope when the real product is the coast. We here with Harry Mack, the livest podcast. Tell them rappers to bring it back. I got the shades on for your protection. My vision bright. Feel like Scott from X-Men.
See
that turkey, nigga.
That's
right. That shit, come on.
That's fine.
I said, niggas always ask, am I my brother's keeper? Fuck you think. Shit get messy when you switch the team up. Forever kick it with my boys like we playing FIFA. See, the goal is to get painted next to Mona Lisa. Look at us, we kings, look at how they treat us. Remember, we were serving shrimp and grits to Queen Latifah. We still serving food for thought, but had to run the fee up. Acting like that they ain't see us, now they wanna be us. Okay, 1, 2, mic check from coast to coast. I come to show who is the best. If you don't know, well, now you know. Don't sleep on flows, we'll drown you out. This is no threat. I bring the pain, I bring the shame to rappers' names who claim to fame. Please come correct. Around the globe, around we go. Touching soul that sold out shows how we connect. Can you hear me? Come with more drive than a Hemi. Reaching for the crown like, gimme. Y'all should win an Emmy for lying in all of your rhymes, confusing the minds for people to find the truth inside of their city. We go above and beyond with every line with witty designs. We helping the few from the many. Because if you know this hip-hop shit, it got the power to save all of us here. That's what we do on this coast.
Yes, sir. Dog. That flow switch was fire, bro. 100%. I said, nightmares of niggas thugging through the night. In the dark, moving too fast, the agile type. They running from the light. I'm running for my life, cause shit get wild. Daybreak make those mornings feel more fragile. Wake up, thank God life fit in my size. Living large, but play it small like I'm a regular guy. Word to the wise, man, some niggas gon' hate him. My reply, fuck it, no response. What they gon' say? Probably some of this, some of that, more of this, and a lot of cap, lot of bullshit. Back when I was young, still innocent, my 5th grade teacher picked me shit. No resemblance, she was Catholic. Always making me repent, and she called me a nigga. Mama, check that bitch. Now, you might be thinking some Alabama mayhem shit. Street picnic, foldable chairs, knuckle sandwiches. Fuck up the school, fuck if they sue us for the damages. But real life wasn't as glamorous. Nah. She looked at me and said, we all good, but I told her shit could be misunderstood. That's when the shit got live. I said, it's cool. I shucked up my pride, and everything moved. Now, I look like this. I say, I look like this. I grew up off a Monday night raw in the pizza box. Domino's was cheap. Papa John wasn't seen a lot. Mama fed the family, stretching the dough, grappling sanity. Only few men I know who could beat the rock. Mom told me keep your flow sharpened. My arteries pump ice, so I am the Stone Cold Austin. I answered God, didn't know him. He was cold calling, seeking me for service like a phone problem. Look at the passion I project. Never asked for my respect. I had a lot of comebacks in my life, the Lazarus effect. About time, my foot on their neck. Nah, I don't mind it. That wasn't for respect. That's a friendly reminder. The industry wasn't my definition of success. They screamed all and still ain't got the best man yet. Taj Austin. I've been in the man. Labels want to sign them. Give them in advance. That's what they offering the kid like Abraham. They don't recognize God got a different plan. Taj Austin. Right. Let's speak facts. Main ones that socialize won't speak back. But if you gonna kill a nigga, do it on the track. How the fuck the culture supposed to stay preserved if we don't keep it rap? Coast Contra.
Hey, good look, man.
Hey,
Good look.
that was crazy.
Wow. Yo, that's fire.
All right, well, shit, how can I not be inspired after that?
I'm excited.
All right, I'm going to do something off the top. So
Yeah,
can I get
yeah.
a word from each of you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
You go this way. You go this way.
This way?
Yeah.
All right, what we doing? We're gonna do it like this. Coast.
Coast. Got to. Let's get
Okay.
it.
All right, architect.
Architect. Hell yeah.
Microphone.
Microphone.
Okay. Acid.
Acid.
Yeah.
All right, Coast, architect, microphone, and acid.
Yeah.
Those are the words. We good?
Okay.
All right, yo. When it come to bars, they know I'm doing the most. I built up the skills, so I brag and I boast. My techniques on the mic is ferocious. When I bust and I rep for the coast. H-Mack really in it. I prove that I'm blessed. I span coast to coast from the east to the west. Anywhere we at, y'all know I be swelling with pride. Cause over dope instrumentals, I coast and I glide. I take it to another plane, y'all know the deal. I'm never faking when creating, I be flowing for real. When it comes to off top, I ain't heard nobody harder yet. Still they want to bite the blueprints cause Mack's the architect. Take it to another level. Y'all know I'm really on that killer route. I'm the architect, now watch me build a house. I mean, over these beats, you hear my sound racing. To build a home, you gotta lay the proper foundation. That's all the freestyles y'all did before never. Years of putting work in to build the skills that's clever. So by the time y'all came out, you was ready for the moment. So when you put that vid out, y'all could all truly own it. Hey yo, we get it popping. I'm the architect of skills. I'ma pull the hammer out. It's time for Mack to build. Matter of fact, these other cats, they done forgot more. I'ma keep on building till I'm lamping at the top floor. Cause changing the game forever, that's what I've been about. I'm elevating till I'm way up at the penthouse. In fact, my lyrics gon' stay true. I'ma elevate to peak of Everest. Either that or it's K2. Breathing with the Sherpas, the industry's #1 worker, the dopest freestyler that they heard of. And y'all know that I never been no type of clone. I get hype when I'm rocking on this microphone. Yeah, people dig the way that Mack is wrecking bars. I said I stay plugged in to the XLR. Yeah, if you step to me, then it may be fatal. Back of my neck got the XLR matrix cable on some I know freestyle. Popping up, I'm ready. Rhymes that I kick off the dome are too heavy. Yeah, and y'all know I be making guys panic. Cause even on condenser mics, my flow is dynamic. Peep the way that I'm maneuvering. With the shotgun mic, I shoot my shot. When I start to get hype, I do it better than the rest. I be way above the average. Got these other rappers tripping out like acid tablets. That's what they telling me. Swelling with jealousy. I hit like LSD. I be something like the acid tabs. How I got them really vibing. If it wasn't that, I guess they tripping off the psilocybin. Mack is something like peyote. Around the whole entire planet, man, I know they about to know me. I'm sitting here with 4 of the livest guys. I'm packing bars in like 505. I'm about to get it poppin'. Yo, I said what I meant. I'm serving food for thought. This just my 2 cents. So I'm breaking down for all of y'all each time we connect. These bars I'm spitting off the top, you know they live and direct. Yeah, and we will stay immune to the vultures, staying independent and taking care of the culture. Doing it the way it's meant to be done. Futuristic, this is 22nd century, son. I'm coming from a different era. Mack is from the future. Open up my skull, it's not a brain, it's a computer. I be doing something different. My bars are absurd. I gotta thank y'all for all of those 4 words, but many more words. The whole podcast was fire. Thank y'all for coming through and leaving us inspired.
Oh, man. Coolie Moss. Coolie Moss. That's crazy. Phenomenal.
Hip-hop, man.
That was a moment.
That was tough.
That's
tough.
That's a moment.
Such a moment.
Thank you so much for having us up here, dog. For
Bro,
real.
anytime, man. It's my absolute pleasure. Blessed to have you guys in the place. My favorite episode so far, man.
Oh, man.
Let's go, man.
Salute,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Salute.
Yo,
Thank you so much.
Man, for real.
Hell yeah. Much love.
Much love.
That's a wrap. Hell yeah. Oh, man.